Okay, there's our intro for Love Struck Baby by Stevie Ray Vaughan. We're going to have three, we have 12s down here, bottom two strings. We're going to have like a and, four, and. So we have three notes, kind of a pickup before the new measure. So it's like 1, 2, 3, and 4, and. And then we go 1 and 2 and 3, 1 and 2 and 3. Okay, so it's 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1 and 2 and 3. And that's those little 12s. We have a little bit of a bend on both of these notes here. We have the 14th fret of the B string, 15th fret of the E string. So we go 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1 and 2 and 3, 1 and 2 and 3. So that's the 10s over here into the 12 and 13, 12 in the B, 13, little bend again. So we got 1, 2, 3. Okay, so that one is like the very last note of that measure that had the 10s on it. It's like the and of the 4, it's an upbeat there. And this is the and of the 1, so we have a couple times we wait on some of these beats. So we got 1, 2, 3. Okay, and here we got 5 more of these. So we had an up, up, down, up, down, up, down on those 5s. Then we got an E bass and an E7 chord, 7, 6, 7, 5. Okay, so one more time we got 1, 2, 3. Okay, kind of like a bum, bum, ba, da, da, on your E7 there. And then it gets a little bit easier. We got the honky tonk thing. You can do it a couple ways. You can have the that kind of a thing for A, or you could jump in this pinky over here in the 10th fret. Okay, so that's your A. We're going to do 4 times of that to get started on that verse. So 1, 2, 3, and. So I went down to the D and I kind of slid into it from the 4th fret. 4 and 6, so 1 from the top of the verse. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so it was 4 A's, 2 D's, back to 2 A's, and then we're gonna get into this E7 again, open, and then 7, 6, 7, 5. We're gonna go. So it's like bass, chord, bass, bass, chord, 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 chord. So each time we get to the E, we're gonna do a riff basically like that. So we're gonna have. So it's. And we do that twice. And then we're back to A. And then here, this is the only time this happens. We're gonna have a. Okay, so we kind of just hit the A at the beginning of the new measure, and then we go to the E. Okay, then we're going to jump down to the D twice. Back to the A. And then we're going D to E this time. Then we're going back to the D. We're going to do the same thing, D, A, D, E, 2 times each. 2, 3, and. And like I say, if this pinky thing is too much, just keep it simple with it. And there's another way you can get that same note up here. You can do this 5th fret over here, so you can go kind of bar down where you include that D string. Doesn't quite have the same thing to it, but you gotta be careful to keep that pinky real tall so you don't get a chord down there accidentally. Sometimes I'll do that. I try to keep it real tall. So then we're gonna have A down to D, and then we got A to our E twice. Okay, then we're into the solo. Let's look at the intro again though. We got 1, 2, 3. Verse. D to A and D to E. Do that again. A. D to E again. A. D. A. E. Okay, so let's look at that much of the solo. We got 7 sets of those 5s down there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then we have an 8, 7, 8 over here. We're gonna kind of bend that up like a half step, all of those each time. So it's like. Now at the end of the second measure of these, we're gonna have. So we have 7, 7, 8 into 8, 7, 8. And it goes right into those 5s. So it's gonna be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so once we did we're going. So 2 5s and a bend on that 7 of the G. 2 5s, bend, 2 5s, bend, 2 5s. So it's. And you can kind of include that 5 on the second string, or even the 2 5s down here when you do this 7 bend sometimes. Then we're gonna have a little 8 bend to the 5, second string 8 to the 5. 7th fret of the G string, little 5s, 7 on the G, 5s over here in the G and B. So it's. And you can kind of hit an A bass in there. Sometimes I don't really feel like I have enough time to hit it, so don't worry about it too much. But. So we kind of get into a bend here, have some little 5s, kind of a couple 7s here. But what we're going to get into is a hammer here. Kind of the 5s on the G and B, into the 6 on the G string, to the 7 on the D, to the 7s down here on the 3rd and 2nd string. So we get into a riff where we have that little hammer thing a couple times. Then we're gonna have a bend up in here. Kind of has a 7s to 6, 7 5 to 6 5, and then we're gonna have. End of that measure, we got 7 bend into 5s, and then we're gonna have a repeating riff that we'll hit a few times over the course of the solo. So that's little 8s. You can slide it if you want to the 5s. Then we do it on the next set of strings, or you can pick it off. Then we have D string 7 to these 5s, and then. Okay, so. 7 on the G, we get into that hammer riff. E bass to E7, and then we're back to this. Now we have a high chord up here, 11, 11, 12, 12. So we have a great chromatic riff. It's pretty difficult. I can't quite do it up to speed right now. I got to work on this a bit. But we got 11 and 12. Right before a new measure, so it's the upbeat. Okay, so we went 11 and 12s, down to the 10s and 11s. We get all the way to the 16s and the 17s. When we get there, we go. So it was high, and then low to high, and then we stay on the high one. Then we switch chords. This is a really cool chord. 17, 16, 14, 17. So we're going to go up on that one, and then down, up, down, up. And then we're going to slide one down. So this whole thing is like. Okay, so after we did that slide down to that chord, we're going to have 5s. We got a bend and 3 more, and then we go back to that riff again. Okay, now this time we're gonna have this. So on the near the end of the measure, we have a, and that's a new measure. Bump, dun. I kind of got them marked out here on the tab. Kind of follow along where those things are, and you can check out the Songster tab to get some of these timings just right, you know. So we're gonna end up back on the 16 with 17s down here. So 16 on the D and 3 17s. After we finish that chord, so it was like. Once we hit that the first time at the end of that measure, we're gonna have, so 2 times, lower 1 and back up. This one goes quick, high, low, high. And then we go low, high, low, high. Okay, so it ends up being. Okay, so we went back to that chord, slide, another one of those riffs, and then we got that repeating riff. Back to D, A, D again, E, A, D, A, E, okay, so there's our intro. It's going to be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So that was 12s and that 14, 15 and 10s and 12, 13. So 2, 3 and. So that's kind of like what we had before. 5, 8, 5, 8, 5. Like I said, you can kind of have that bend by itself or kind of with that unison bend. We're going to end with that 11, 11, 12, 12. That's an A6-9 chord. So some real tasty chords, real killer solo in here. Love Struck Baby, Stevie Ray Vaughan. And then let's slow down that chord part. Okay, we're back into it. So great Stevie Ray Vaughan stuff. Like I say, this part I find real challenging. All that, right? Okay, so hope you all dug that. I got 3 pages of tabs. Love Struck Baby, Stevie Ray Vaughan. Have a good day. Peace out.